on Excel, PowerPoint, and some other things. I helped, because the division was not fully in function, I helped in the departments of planning then to help in organizing some, maybe they have conferences, we plan it together. Then there is this agricultural sector meeting that always hold every month. I'm always the person sending out reminder and writing the meeting minutes for the meeting then at the Ministry of Agriculture. Now we post as the FAO, I'm started with the responsibility of looking into the irrigation in the country, the soil in the area of agriculture. We've been able to look at some of it because it helps in site selection for the type of crops to be grown in an area and how it will be grown. Then we've also been working in another responsibility I was given is procurement, the local procurement within program units, just to help us so that it will be fast-tracked. But I think one of the challenges I saw mainly is because there is no seed law in Liberia presently that is being passed, is affecting some work. Because for you to be able to bring out local seed and for it to grow, you have to make international purchase like that, and it's affecting some work like that. And because of there's no seed law it has already stopped so many projects like that. Then fertilizer law too, also in Liberia, I think they said it's still pending at the Senate. If it can also be passed so that it will assist in the type of fertilizer to be applied to a particular soil, and it we'll be able to know the type of germination, the type of yield we will have in the area. Also at the FAO presently, I'm also helping out in checking infrastructures to know the particular infrastructure that is being built, if it's built based to standard, this requires specification that is given. And I think for now, we are still working and we'll still continue to work. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. My name is Mamudu Titus Uwayemisi Adibike. I'm posted to the Ministry of Education. I'm a computer analyst. When we came earlier, we were posted, my colleague and I were posted to Grand Cape Medina Public High School. Now, we were there for about 6 months, where we worked together with the teachers to ensure that the school was brought up to a particular standard. We organized some kind of program to help the students, to help the school get funding, and we were able to change their blackboard to whiteboard. So right now in Medina Public High School, they are using a whiteboard. And before we left the school as well, they were able to build the staff toilet, because when we were there, they didn't have a place that you could go and ease yourself and all that. We have to go back to our lodge and come back and all that. So we were able to handle such projects. And before we also left, we were able to create a girls' club in that school, because we found out that the girls are the one at disadvantage when this thing happens, and they don't come to school and they are not encouraged to come to school. So we hold a weekend sanitization program for the girls to be able to come to school and make sure. Now, while I was there, I saw the need that the primary school, Your Excellency, I suggest that more attention to be given to the primary schools, because we find out that most of this problem that some of the colleagues are talking about, it comes from the foundation. When you have a child in grade 10 or 11 that cannot even read, or when you have a student in grade 12 that's going to take the wax and does not even understand some terms that you're talking about in English, it becomes a problem. I could bet that most of our teachers, first of all, you need to teach them a bit of English to understand what you are saying before they can solve the problem that you want them to solve. So, and I believe that if more attention is given to the primary school, which is the foundation, the students will turn out better by the time they get to the secondary school. Now, presently, we are serving at Painesville Community High School, teaching them computer science. The major challenge I have right now is that there's no computer. And the computer, and as a computer analyst, there is no how you can give a 100% teaching to students without having a computer. Yes, so we need practicals. We need to do practicals. We need computers. Thank you, Excellency.
Good afternoon, Your Excellencies. I am Oluwatobi Samuel Bankolis. I am an agricultural engineer, and I work with the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. My work primarily, as the term connotes, agricultural engineering, is to apply engineering to agriculture. It's basically to ease labor and to improve productivity, and that I've been helping with the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. Part of my work is to provide technical specification for agro machines to be procured. And when those machines are also procured, I also help in supervising the installation and testing of such machines. When they are installed, I also do assessment of such machines in order to make a final clearance whether those machines should be retained or will be rejected. Or better still, make certain recommendations that it is due. Besides that, I also engage in lowland development for cultivation of rice, where I provide technical support to farmers in helping them to build bonds, air dikes, peripheral canals, and the like, their paddy bonds, and all of that. That I'm doing currently at Grand Bassa, specifically Lewin in Grand Bassa. One major challenge we have over there, Your Excellency, is that people find it difficult to take ownership or responsibility for their own work. Despite the fact that we are providing the technical support and with the aid of donors, we are also providing the finance to help facilitate the work, they also want them to pay them for their own work. Yes, we, the FAO, through WFP, also provide what they call food for work, so that when they work, they have certain amount of food to do that work, to give them strength and all of that. But they still want us to pay them certain amount. Yes, so I would want you to possibly use your good office to help do a kind of reorientation to disabuse our people's minds so that they can really take ownership of their own development. Besides that, as the term connotes, I specialize also in post-harvest handling, because much of the problem we have in agriculture in Africa generally is not that we are not producing enough, but a lot of what we are producing is getting wasted. So I specialize in crop processing and storage, and that I've been doing. Very soon we'll be doing much work in that area, because we have certain projects that has to do with processing, development of value chain, and I'm assisting with that. More so, I also assist in supervision of farm structures, anything that has to do with building, whether it's fencing, building of poultries, development of model gardens, because we have FAO HARDA, the Food and Culture Organization representative here in Liberia, who is very passionate about the work and the growth of the local communities. They want them to be able to feed themselves and also be able to export whatever they even produce, but at least they should be able to feed themselves. So she brought this idea of model garden, where you could have vegetables, you could have your poultry, you could have like virtually everything you need to survive when it comes to food within the community. That I'm providing technical support for that work, and I'm also helping to ensure, provide kind of quality assurance, because we have a certain challenge in this area as well, whereby we give work to certain contractors, and much of what they bring into the place is substandard. And when we give them certain specification, this is how you build this is what you do, this is what you do, they don't even follow these technical specifications. So this I'm trying to help with, and in fact, the madam was so concerned when she learned that my contract will soon end. And she even told me that she has to run to the ambassador to liaise with him to see how I.
No problem.
So this is what we are doing, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good morning, High Excellency.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, High Excellency.
Good afternoon.
Okay, my name is Yama Naphtali Elima. I work with the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection as gender specialist. This is my second year in the Ministry of Gender, and the ministry is supportive in my area of specialization. I have been supporting the ministry in the areas of capacity building, the areas of developing of terms of reference for the gender responsive planning and budgeting. I was part of the committee with the Ministry of Finance for the development of the gender responsive planning and budgeting document that was developed and it was validated. And also, I'm part of the committee for the strategic resolve framework for the national gender policy that we helped them to develop the strategic resolve framework, and it was passed and validated also. And also, we developed some of the concept notes for the department in seeking for funding and proposals to the ministry. But one of the challenge we are facing with the ministry, if you look at it, Liberia, most of the ministries, they depend on funding. So most of the activities in terms of logistics, some activities we want to do, carry out, but there is no funding until you have funding for you to carry out some of the activities. And also, I was part of the committee for the spotlight survey. I was opportune to be part of the people that went to the county for the spotlight survey. And one of the issues I see in the county is that the Ministry of Gender, they are doing their best, but the county office need to be strengthened. Because if you look at, there's a lot of GBV issues in the counties that is underreported. Yes, so they need to strengthen the county office, because if you look at the county coordinators, like now in the ministry, some of the cars are broke down, there is no funding. If you look at in the ministry, some of the cars are parked, the cars that they use to carry out their work. So seriously, the Ministry of Gender need to strengthen the county office, seriously. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Emmanuel Omanchi. I was posted to the Ministry of Agri as an agrogeologist. I spent like 6 months there, and in my 6 months I was able to do 2 things. I drafted the TOR for indigenous agrogeologists, because I think agrogeology as a profession is not common, and then everybody's asking what's the job of these people here. So
Tell me what you do.
they are the I'm very good at proposal development, so I did concept note on lowland mapping for rice production, which was submitted and is being reviewed before I moved to WFP. So at WFP, I was given M&E and VAM. M&E is monitoring and evaluation, and VAM is vulnerability assessment mapping. So here we use the GIS component to analyze data captured by aero surveys and then we put them into the software, the ArcGIS, and then analyze. So based upon that, aside that, I also do some proposal. You will bear with me that WFP passed a country strategic plan for 4.5 years, amounting to about $5 million USD. So that money may not be there, but some of us are some of the driving force where we develop proposals. My coming there, I think I've developed about 2 to 3 proposals. One is for the current one that is going on with UN Women, and UNDP is the LMPTF proposals, which I gave a component of environmental peace building, which I have developed, and they've made me the focal point for that particular project. It will take 3 years for that particular project. And I also developed, because I worked some time with the Ministry of Agri, I was able to identify some of the gaps in the ministry. So I collaborated with my bosses there, and I was able to draft another concept note to support the Ministry of Agriculture in terms of where they are lacking capacity, logistics and the rest, capacity building. So the proposal is still ongoing and has been approved. It will be approved very soon from the Ministry from the WFP. So also I drafted a concept note on what we call the ICA, Integrated Concept Analysis. That analysis involves entire stakeholders, the ministry, people like the DISGs, NMGS, the National Disaster Management Agencies, and all of those ones, the Ministry of Agri. So we bring them together to analyze what we call the food insecurity data of Liberia, and then the shocks. So these are mixed together where it will inform the government on how to plan, prioritize their long-term, short-term, and then medium-term planning for in a way that they can direct their resources appropriately. Because you see, most of these agencies and institutions, they just develop plan without direction. So with this, the inception plan has been held in June, and then the follow-up technical and programmatic plan will be holding up this week. From this week, which ECOWAS was invited, and some other agencies, about 100 participants will be there for this week. So those are some of the things we are doing. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Excellency. I'm Olabidolari Emmanuel. I studied space physics, and and my presence here in Liberia, we just have one mandate. I teach physics and maths in 20 districts. And our mandate is to improve science education in Liberia. That's my only mandate, to improve science education in Liberia. As I'm standing with you, I can proudly say that the best science school in Liberia is in my district.
Where?
What is Sonaye?
Presbyterian Toady Mission School.
Okay, the Presbyterian.
Yes, you saw our kids. You will give us something. Yes.
I told them I would come and visit.
Yes. So we have really done a lot of work here. We have the best lab in the country.
Wow.
Yes, we do. I and my colleague, we just focus on that because we discovered a problem and we're trying to provide solution to that problem. The problem we discovered is that students are afraid of science. Even in the enrollment, they normally go for social sciences. So there's a dysfunctional, where if we are enrolling 100 students in school, you see like 98 going for social sciences, while 2 going for sciences. So we are trying to solve that problem. So I want you to write it down. If you have students, that are interested in sciences, send them to Presbyterian Cody Mission. So my wife changing the name to Presbyterian Cody Mission Science. In order to sustain, now discovered some problems. The problem we discovered was that students have some psychological problems, social problems. The next thing I and my colleague, we now develop a counseling unit in school. All these students, to talk to them in order to solve problem of teenage pregnancy and all that. That's what we do. And we are doing well in that area.
I'm coming to visit.
So we now discovered another problem. We discovered another problem. The problem of teachers, science teachers. We now decided to start training some of these teachers in science so that when we leave, everything won't just crumble. We train teachers. So ma, we are doing our job excellently. I want to tell you a secret, ma.
Tell me.
When we got there,
The secret has to be in the whole room, man.
yeah. When we got there, you can bear with me witness. When we got there, what happened was that the way we were doing things, then the owner of the school now called us that, please, we want to make one of the principals. We said,
ECOWAS citizens.
yes, we said, no, we said it was not right that Liberians can develop Liberians. That we can just assist and help. So we can, what we're now doing is that we are helping the person there in every support. We are giving everything he needs. So I don't know, my colleague is here, he's my boss. Probably he must have forgotten some things.
Good afternoon, my Excellency. My name is Aldo Augustine Obuso. Actually, I'm a chemistry teacher and I'm versed in sciences. Actually, when we got to Todi, we noticed that there was kind of a lack of teachers, especially sciences. The laboratory was under lock and keys, and there was no, everywhere was just, messed up. So our first mission was to ensure that everything was put in place. We went to the laboratory, we set up the whole thing, make everything, the way it's supposed to be. But honestly, since we have been in that school, I believe that we have really made an impact in terms of science, experiment, and practical. That one is pure every time, honestly. Because based on what he told me before, what he said before, we organized a science fair. That science fair, the purpose of the science fair is to ensure that we captivate the interest of these young ones, into learning sciences. And that is one of the reasons why the woman actually, she has been hammering on it. The owner of the school, they want science students in this school. And again, we noticed that the level of interest in reading in culture is not there. There's no reading culture in the school, which also, made us to, my colleague and I decided to introduce what we call this the reading club. So that reading club, where we normally cancel them, we ensure that we give them some workload in terms of reading. They will meet up a particular target at a particular time so that they'll be able to, to cover up in terms of reading. And again, the science aspect and the experiment aspect, unlike last week, when we came back this year, I was entrusted with the biology class as well. So I'm teaching biology and chemistry right now. And we had an experiment last week on where we made use of microscopes and all that. So if for him to tell you that we do a lot of experiments, we are not like you. So if you want to find out, you can go and ask. They will tell you categorically.
We're coming there.
And I'm not saying that we have everything in the laboratory. No, we don't. But at least we have to improvise. Based on experience, my colleague can be here with this. I have made some provision on how I can do some experiments. I can go out, use some local material, source them, and engage them in those things, which is what we have actually done. So that is it. Thank you very
My name is Ability Kasule. I'm a physics teacher teaching at Moto Battery Junior and Senior High School, one mile community, one county. Most of my colleagues have rightly said we've been doing our best. When we came, we discovered that most of the students are not interested in school, especially the sciences. So we decided to organize extra classes, which most of them have been cooperating. And as a result of that, we are able to have the performance of the students greatly increased or improved. Now, most of the challenges we are facing in that school is, number one, most of the schools, the students are meant to offer all the subjects, both social sciences, arts, and commercial. And that makes them to lose focus. We also organize a career day. So in that career day, we taught them how to choose their career, which will enable them to prosper and to choose a career in which they can develop and build on. But as a result of them offering all the subjects, the students are confused as to which sub-area to focus or to specialize in. They now tell us that it's the system here in Liberia that the students in high school, especially the government school, they must offer all subjects. It's only when they come to write works that they write only 9. But we say it's not done so. They are supposed to be separated into sciences, arts, and commercial. And also at our school, we also have this problem. We don't have a single computer in that school. We need to go outside the school to type our test questions, exam questions, and the rest. So we've been pleading with the school to write to the ministry to provide us with computer sets, and also we don't have power source. If the government or the ministry can supply us with a solar system or generator set to power the system, to be aiding us in typing our questions and to be doing practicals. Now, in terms of the practical for sciences, myself and my colleague, when we traveled back to Nigeria, we brought some of the lab equipment or apparatus. Even recently when I traveled, I brought some textbooks and I get the best students. I brought physics textbook and other textbooks for the students. So ma'am, we've been doing our best actually. And we had challenges in terms of equipments, such as lab equipment and apparatus. And we also need a computer set to help us to be processing our questions. So
Last but not the least.
You are saving the best for the last. Amen.
My name is Adebisi Foster Odi. I'm a grammarian. I teach English language. When I came here, I was posted to Grand Cape Man, Medina Public High School. And while there, I taught grade 10, 11, and 12 English and literature. And my colleague and I, we collaborated together. We worked on so many things at the school. One of the things we did, the first work we did was to commemorate the 17 days of activism that was done. We organized a program, we talked on rape, we talked on violence and so many things. And the school and the community that were involved in it, it was a success. We also planned a career day program for the 12th graders. We taught them about different careers, what subjects they need to focus on for different careers and all that, and that was equally a success. We collaborated with the Peace Corps volunteer there, because they have a Peace Corps volunteer there. We collaborated with her and we did a town hall meeting where we talked about the importance of consent in relationships. Because of course, one of the issues we have also at Grand Cape Man is the issue of teenage pregnancies and also rape, which is prominent there. So we talked about it, and I think it was really good because we had a lot from the male folks there, and we got good feedback after the program. Along with the Peace Corps volunteer there, we also we collaborated with her and did a workshop, for a school-friendly workshop, which was supposed to create a good relationship between the school management and the students to bridge the gap between that, and that was equally a success. We had about 10 schools that was in attendance around Grand Cape Man County. And in May, we were posted to Painesville, and we went to Painesville Community High School. We've been there since May. While there, we started the extracurricular activities. We started the clubs. We started reading club, girls club, boys club. We also did that at Grand Cape Man as well. And in Grand Cape Man, they actually went ahead to put it in the school curriculum. When they saw how effective it was and how it was affecting the students. And in Grand Cape Man, let me go back to Grand Cape Man, something important we did there. And we noticed they had a lot of infrastructural problems. And the two major ones were staff toilet. There was no toilet for the staff. So for us to be able to take care of ourselves, sometimes we have to climb down the hill and then climb up the hill again. So it was really difficult. So we told the principal, he said there was no money. We also told him about the need to change the whiteboards, to chalkboards to whiteboards, because it has negative effects on the teachers as well as the students. Especially someone as an asthmatic might have a problem with the chalks. So he said he liked the idea, but there was no money. So we gave him an idea of how to raise money. So we gave him an idea to organize a gala, a one-week gala celebration and a queen contest, which it kind of works with their 50th anniversary of the school. So my colleague opened a Facebook page for them. We got a lot of alumni of the school, who were interested in what we were doing. And after the program, we were able to raise enough money to build the toilets and to change all the chalkboards to whiteboards in one weekend. And then at Painesville Community High School, we have started the Girls Club. At Painesville, one of my biggest challenges there is that the students there are many. I teach just 10th grade in Painesville, and there are over 300 students in 10th grade. In fact, at present, we are still expecting about 195 we are expecting them to register. And I will tell you that 95% of those students cannot read in 10th grade. And I'm supposed to prepare them for what? I don't know, it's a challenge because you don't know how to go back and start to teach them to read when there is a lot to cover. But in order to handle that challenge, I started a reading club. My colleague and I, we've been taking time out after school to teach those ones who are interested, because we actually called for every one of them to be part of it, but not every one of them, have been showing up. I think some of them said they have to work because they pay their way through school. So we are doing that also to help them learn how to read. We also started a program called Building Blocks of Success for the school. We run that from time to time, and we use it as an opportunity to talk to the students about morals, to talk to them about etiquettes, to talk to them about building a vision, having purpose in life, and it has been really, really successful. We have over 100 students per meeting, showing up to be part of it. Of recent, when the school resumed, we did a back-to-school workshop where we taught them about tips of tips of achieving, good grades in school. We talked to them about, she handled ICT with them, like introduction to computer. She told them about how to go online, to go to websites and get information about school, get to do your assignments online. She also taught them about how to get scholarships, online, because there are so many scholarships available, but they don't know about it and they need help. So she also handled much about that. And then we invited one of our colleagues from the Ministry of Sports, who also came to talk to them about the importance of sports in school. And he also sensitized the girls on the importance of sports for the girls, so that they can be more involved in sports. So far we've been doing a lot of work. The Girls Club, we have kicked off on that, and it's we've been talking about teenage pregnancy. We have a number of them, quite a number of them. And the good thing about Painesville Community High School is we have a lot of females in the school compared to Grand Cape Town, where we're coming from. But now some of them are getting involved in illicit activity that would probably at the end of the day, if they're not careful, they will drop out. So we've been handling the Girls Club, trying to see how we can talk to them, to close their legs, get an education, at least wear the graduation gown before they wear the maternity gown. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. We've been able to hear
academic
from
gown before maternity.
yes, ECOWAS volunteers. Now we turn over to Her Excellency so she can give her own response.
Our ambassador for ECOWAS, and a friend of Liberia, I need to say, all of our ECOWAS volunteers, it's really been an exciting hour and a half. Looking at how you started, where we are today, and what needs to be done. Sometimes when we speak as policy makers or politicians, you look at the numbers. But there's nothing more important than actually hearing firsthand the different stories of what this team has managed to do. And I want to thank Ambassador Ajisomo, and through him, to the ECOWAS Commission and the leaders there for allowing this group to come to Liberia. I'm really, really grateful. As I listen to you, I see people who are innovative, more than capable, willing to help, and willing to make the impact that is necessary in our educational sector. And I am really, really, really pleased. Because I heard some of the stories of how you went into an environment or into a school with nothing, and going out of your way to make sure that your job was easier by bringing in whether it was laboratory equipment or computers or the different things that you use to make sure that the learning that you have committed to do is actually transmitted. I also heard anxiety about where you go or how this program lands. I think it's the same anxiety that mothers feel when you're pregnant first and you're waiting for that baby to come. And you're hoping that that child grows to be what you expect it to be. And I think that anxiety is important because then I realized that you're not just here on a job. It's not just a regular job. Oh, we'll go to Monrovia for 2 years or Liberia, we'll do what we can and we'll come back. You've gotten involved, you've gotten personal with the issues you faced. And I think this is something that you can't pay for. So let me say thank you to each of you in a very special way on behalf of our president and our young people. Thank you very, very, very much. I also took time to note down some of the challenges, the monitoring and evaluation part of it, teenage pregnancy and rape, capacity building, teachers. And sadly, when you think about teachers, and let me talk about Sanoye. It's a very, how do I say? It's a district that has produced many great people. But people come to Monrovia and they're proud to say, oh, I'm from Sanoye, but they don't go back. Some of them don't have jobs, but they won't even go to teach. So I think that's a problem. How do we maybe begin to talk about the need to go back and give back to your own community? Because there are many people capable sitting around complaining they do not have jobs. And so the issue of teachers cannot be underemphasized. Is very serious. And I'm happy that you found out that when you travel across our country, everybody wants to do social science, even at the universities. There's a free teachers college at the University of Liberia, very low enrollment. I think some of the science classes or courses at the university are also free. So encourage our young people to move into those areas. Somehow we're not getting that. I had a visit a few years ago to Cottonton University, that's also in Bond County. It's a private university, and I went for a career day interaction. And I kept asking, what are you doing? What are you doing? Sociology and all kinds of things. I made a comment there, I wasn't popular for it, but just being here a year, you picked up the same thing. I asked them, what will you do a sociology degree? Because no one's hiring sociologists. You have to go back and do education or medicine. You have to tie it into something. It's a good second degree, especially when you look at our resources, the human and natural resources that we need to develop. A sociologist, what does he do with the fact that we need to feed ourselves? Or the fact that we have all of these natural minerals all around us that our people have not yet managed to be able to even exploit. So you have people who you're giving mining concessions to, no Liberian at the high level. What are they taking out of our country? Is it money for value? And those things will not be talked about because you don't have your own eyes there. They're foreign eyes. And then we complain and we complain. But I think at the lower level, we need to begin to change the mindset of our people. I want to thank the guys from the Presbyterian Todi Science. Because that's what is needed. We want to thank you very highly. Because I think at that level, you can actually get people to change how they think. But if, you just go through the same routine and look how things are, then we'll probably keep getting people by the time you get to the university level, you want to do sociology. Thank you very much. And Ambassador and I are coming to visit. I also heard you talk about laboratories and libraries and computers, but national ownership is also something that's important. What do we do with the negative tradition that seems to hamper the education of our children? And that is something we've been struggling with. I think there are even all kinds of laws. The traditional council gathered together the other day and said they will stop some of those practices, but who knows? They will set him on Monrovia. We don't know how far it's even going. The Boto Barclay School and a lot of those schools that were built a few years ago by the World Bank, I believe, are major, they should be major centers of excellence. But you have a school that can maybe take about 1,000 children in a good day, and they just have 100 or 200 students there. When I visited Boto Barclay, I realized that the capacity for which the school was built is not yet even at 50%. And that we need something to encourage young people to go. This weekend I visited Todi, and I went to the Yang Public School. We have about 100 little girls that we're planning on mentoring there. They come from Yang Public School, the Gova Public School, the Doris Holder Public School, and the Coontown Public School. So we're able to get, I think, 20 girls from each of these schools, and we want to put together a small program for mentoring and empowerment. So maybe some of you would jump around with me a little bit there to go and see what can be done. But the fact of the matter is that negative traditions really actually hamper kids And we've been trying to deal with the issue of FGM, get some laws to have it banished. I believe almost all of the ECOWAS countries have banned it. We're still struggling with that. We put a law in place and said that, you know, because of the heavy, you know, tradition, that girls should be 18 years old. You know, if you want to, then you can go. If you don't, you shouldn't be forced. Even that didn't pass. So you can understand what we're dealing with. But then government just has to take some initiatives and do, you know, what is necessary, because no nation can survive if you do not ensure that the next generation is capacitated. The war has already damaged half of them because they didn't get a chance to go through the former system. And like you said, children are having children that are having children. So there's no training, there's no input, there's, you know, people are just moving around and assuming that it will be okay. We need to really deal with some of these issues at the lower level so that we begin to train our people. If you visit the universities, you'll find out that people are in the universities and they can't read. It's as far as that. We can talk, well, ask for a report. It will take you 20 months for somebody to give you a simple report of a program that was done. So it's fading into the higher levels. You go into some of the ministries and agencies, it's just the same thing. Because your brain is what you put in is what you get out. If it's not in there, there's nothing you can do. So the fact is that there is much, much more that needs to be done. The issues of sexual and gender-based violence, and I'm happy some of you are in the schools that are outside of the real urban cities. The further you go away, the worse it is. And people assume that daughters are tools that people can use. Fathers gave them away, mothers gave them away for little things. And just giving women information as to why you should not be a property of someone, even if it's your father, will take a while, but I think all of us must get involved in talking about these issues. I want to say thank you to all of you who are in the schools about the extra classes, because truthfully we got some really good results in the past year from WACS. And I want to say thank you to you. You know, the Sanaya High School was very special for me because when I went to the graduation, I realized that there was a 60-year-old woman.
Yes.
Who had gone through the process and passed. She was a little disappointed because she had wanted to be a nurse. And because there were no high schools in the areas, she had to just stay home. So when that high school was built, at that age, she went back to school and she had a high school degree. You can imagine if that school had never been built. So sometimes there are just the little simple things that you don't look at. The extra classes are really, really, really important. Because like you say, if you can't read, you can't do any tests. It's just about comprehension. You know, while you might be thinking something is subtraction, is actually addition. So I mean, everything centers on reading and understanding what you're doing. And if you can't read simple things, forget. Someone has a degree in what? I forgot. Astro, something, space, physics. So, I mean, I can't even comprehend that. You know, but I mean, it's so important. I'm happy that each of you come from your different sectors with who you are and what you've chosen to teach. You'll find that the teaching profession in Liberia is predominantly left with the older people. None of the young people want to teach. Most of them, you know, want office jobs. At the Bodo Barclay High School, a lot of the teachers there are older teachers. You know, and we need to really find a way to get people up to standard. A lot of them have C certificates, which is the lowest. Yeah, the lowest certificate. And sometimes when I speak to them, I say the University of Liberia has a free teachers college. So some incentives need to be given, maybe in a way that we encourage you to go back to school, because there are new issues. And truthfully, when I went to school, we didn't do, some schools have 18 subjects. The Ministry of Education needs to look at this. By the time you get to 9th grade, in most countries, you are now being channeled. If you're a science student, then you do science courses. If you're an arts student, then you stick to that. But they force the children to learn all of this stuff. In the end, they come out with nothing, which is a very, very, very critical thing. I hope we can begin to look at it. Because I know I didn't do more than 5 or 6 subjects throughout my whole sojourn until I got to the university. In fact, we did biology in 9th grade, only biology for 1 complete year. We did chemistry in 10th grade, and we did algebra in 11th grade, and something else in the 12th grade, calculus. So I mean, you had time to just, for a whole year deal with, you know, what you were learning. I don't know when and how it changed, but it has, and I think we need to go back to basics so that children are able to get the basic education that they need. I heard you talk about some of the things that you would like to see, simple things like maybe a staff room for break, toilet facilities, white chalkboards, simple things, but are necessary to help you as you teach and the kids too as they, you know, go through the process. For those who aren't teachers that are in the agriculture sector, I want to say thank you too. We have a very fertile country. There are many opportunities. But if you travel, you'll find out very rarely people doing anything. If you go to Cape Mount, you won't find an orange on the road. You know, there's some places you go, you find bananas and different things, but Cape Mount, former President Obasanjo put in place a serious chicken farm, poultry farm. And I visited at one time, they had maybe 100,000 birds. And then after I got through touring, I was so excited, and the man said, there's a problem. I said, what is the problem? He says, we need people to plant corn for feed. He said, we're getting feed from Guinea. He said, and that's the largest bill that we have to pay, and it doesn't make sense. All of this empty land, nobody wanted to plant. I think for a while, the factory, the poultry had to close down. But that was a main reason. Ebola came too, but the main reason was they couldn't get feed. And it will just tell you, those of you who are in FAO and other places, how there's something wrong with our mind. I had a conversation with my grandson a few days ago, and I said to him, do you know what farmers do? He was looking at me kind of funny. I said, farmers are the richest people in the world, and then his eyes opened up, he's 10. What do you mean they are the richest people? I said, they are the richest people in the world because they feed everybody from whatever level you're at. So you can make plenty money. And he was like, So I asked him to do me a small report on what farmers do. I'm trying to encourage him because I think it's important that at that age we have to reframe the way our children are thinking. So it's not just about go to school, it's about all of the other things that make up the psychic for which our children can grow to be, you know, the next generation that we're hoping to produce. So let me say thank you to you. I've gotten a whole new energy from just seeing the different impact that is being made and how you're really trying your best. I heard there were some problems with the Ministry of Agriculture and no support, no coordination. Some people have been shifted to FAO when you work for program, and we've lost now some significant capacity that we could have built. I will take that into consideration in my conversations, you know, as I meet and interact with the ministers. I'm hoping, as Ambassador Ajisomo said, that maybe a year or 2 can be added so that we can, you know, go through a process and see what more can be done. There's also an issue of Liberians not being a part of the international fellowship of volunteers that you are. We finally managed to get into the military because we have some of our soldiers in Mali and other places. But I think it needs to go beyond. I had a chance to talk on the radio, and I talked about, you know, volunteering for ECOWAS. And then I said my office was open if there was anybody who was interested to come in, and I'll tell them what to do. I still haven't gotten anyone to come and say they're interested. But we need to keep talking about it. The Nigerians have, I think it's called the National Youth Service something Corps.
We have technical aid corps, which is at the level of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Then the National Youth Service Corps is for graduates
from the university
that are sent around the country, you know, to learn, to understand the country, and of course also to give them a sense of belonging. So that's something that
maybe we can look at something like this.
Exactly. particularly the National Youth Service Corps.
It's in the last year?
It's in the final year.
Okay.
Yes, after graduation.
After graduation.
Exactly. It is compulsory.
We need to look at it because maybe it will help. I mean,
Yeah.
you end up getting people who want to teach, who
Yeah.
want to work in different areas. And they will put that energy to work because there are thousands of people that graduate every year. And everyone is just sitting. So I think we need to find a way to harness it.
And one of the beauty of it also is that we rotate the graduates. If you are from the northern part of the country, you are sent to the southern part of the country, so that you understand the culture, you understand the language of the people, and through that we have intermarriages. Through that we get to understand ourselves, and it promotes national unity. And then part of the training also is some military training. They are drill. They are for discipline. And it's something that since 1973, it was introduced in 1973. During the time of Jerry Akubu. And today, it's been reviewed in terms of the allowances. And the government is very committed. It's something that
I think it's something we can begin to do.
Very important. Yeah. And during the period too, it enables the graduates to begin to look at the future. They use the 1 year period, to do some calculation, either to do their masters, or to go into employment space, so it helps a lot. And then networking, which also means a lot of networking among colleagues, among
We'll start to look at that. I think we need to look at the law from Nigeria and see what can be done. I'll try when we get back in January to see if we can put this on the table. Because I think it will help us get teachers. Because if you have a college degree, you can teach.
Sure.
But our schools shouldn't be empty.
Exactly.
Because there is a pool of young people sitting around that need somehow to be activated.
Exactly. It helps a lot. You wanted to say
Yeah,
something?
because I was having that in mind.
Yeah.
Because I had discussion with these guys before on the issue of teachers.
Yeah.
And I said, because Ghana we also have it.
Yeah.
We call it national service, which is compulsory for every graduate.
Yes.
Whether from the teacher training college or vocational, whatever.
Yeah.
You are allowed to go to the system, then you choose the region you want to serve. Then they assign you in the field you are trained in. So for example, in Liberia, that could have been harnessed a lot.
Sure.
For like make it one compulsory year. Every graduate you are compulsorily going to teach for 1 year. So you roll it over. Every year you will not lack teachers because every year there are graduates.
It helps a lot. It helps very,
So people who are willing to serve in forever, then they can remain. And you provide them civil service status or whatever. I think that would really help.
I'm going to work on this and hopefully with my meetings from here, my minutes from the meeting, I will inform the president of some of the things we spoke about so that at least we can begin to look at this because I think it will really help. Want to say something?
Yeah.
I want to say something that I forgot initially. That is the issue of soil lab in the country. There is no soil laboratory. There is no soil laboratory currently functional in the country because we went around that. Okay, in case there are soils to be tested, because some farmers called and some people wanted us to work on their soils to test the soil in their farm. When I was at the Ministry of Agriculture, that there was no place to carry it out in the country. And the only place that they have the equipment were at the university. And there was no technical know-how on how to use them.
Wow.
So I think if something can be done in that capacity, like building a standard lab, then apart from that, where the soil aside the soil lab, where viable seed can be tested to ensure their viability in the country, I don't think there's anything like the standard lab that can do that too. If it can be looked into, then the agriculture sector will be expanded.
And I'm not sure of Cary. Have you been to Cary?
There's no soil lab.
Seed, how about seeds?
There is no seed law.
Excellency, let me just talk about those that were deployed to the field and warfare. The reason why they were deployed, as already mentioned, because they were not effectively utilized. For 1 year, we're just paying them salaries, and they had to, use their initiatives. Some of the things they said, teaching, the staff of organizing meetings, organizing the capacity workshop. But now that they are in FAO, they are helping also the Ministry of Agriculture. They are helping farmers. So it's even more broader, you know. They are not just deployed there to do an agencies. I'm happy that actually everybody that we've sent to FAO, about 4 of them, they've gone round. Go to Lofa. You've been to how many places now?
I would say about 10 places.
Can you imagine within that many months now, within 5 months? When you were in Ministry of Agriculture, I mean...
Never go down the road.
That is the reason. So we will still continue to work with the Ministry of Agriculture because we believe that agriculture holds the key to food security, you know, and the development of this country. We know that we've spent a great deal of time with us.
I know you want to run away.
No. I'm just
so
looking at the
interesting.
time.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I just want to quickly drop a recommendation concerning in the educational part because I teach English, so I understand the challenge of having looked at the way things have been and spoken with the management of the school, even the DEO and the CEO. I discovered that the gap that happened that affects the students and they're not able to read, probably because of the war. And some of them who have decided to come back to school because of their age, don't feel like they should go back to the foundation. And they just want to, fit into maybe high school. And sometimes when they fail, they don't instead of repeating their class, they move to the next available school.
Yeah.
And the problem just keeps on like that. So I want to suggest that if it is possible to have a program, something that looks like a reading school program, where all students must go through to be able to, you learn how to read. Once they give you a certificate that you are able to read, then you can be incorporated into school. Because if they don't do that, we'll still have that problem. And if you can't read, how do you read mathematics? How do you read chemistry and biology and agri? So I think there has to be a way to fix the issue. We have to have a program where they can go back just to learn to read and write. Even some of them in the university should do that so as to help themselves. Because I also noticed that some teachers, I'm very sorry to say,
Yes, it's
they
the
have
truth.
They have the same challenge.
Some people are teaching English and they're speaking local languages.
Yes.
I know some of you have 1 or 2 comments to make. The Vice President has been so generous with that time. So,
But I don't think this will be our last meeting.
No,
I have
no,
some
no.
other issues.
That is true. That's true.
So I'll come and
So,
see how we
if
do
you
it.
have something very important that is new, that has not been said by any
I just
other
wanted to
person.
build on what you were saying about reading.
About
Because
reading.
in some schools, you can have reading and writing like a unit. For
Okay.
example, in some universities,
Yes.
they have a unit called academic writing or
Sure.
career center.
Uh-huh.
You can support schools to have their reading center or career center.
Mhm.
So if you cannot read, there are specialized people who can assist you. Once you're open about it, you go there, they will guide you how to learn how to read.
Very
So each school, if they have it, or a cluster of schools have a reading center, that would be fantastic.
Okay.
I want to add something.
Yes.
Let me just add something small on education. You see, education is the bedrock of any nation.
Sure.
So the system of education that is happening here needs to be corrected, in the sense that when a child fell, for example, let me just start from this point. When we were teaching, the first time I came to the class, I started teaching. The first day they were impressed, the second day they were saying, Jonah, used to call me Mr. Jonah. Mr. Jonah, this is Liberia. That's what they started telling me. I said, no, but I am giving you an international something. Anywhere you go in the world, it's the same. Science doesn't change. This is not history. This is science. But then, after they fell, one thing I discovered is that they pay. They go and meet the class sponsor and pay and they grade them. And the next time you see them in the next class. So that is one of the things that I think it needs to be handled very seriously, because it's like it's a normal norms doesn't care. And I used to be angry with that. I said to him, then what are we doing?
Yes.
So I think we also need to check that aspect too. Thank you.
We'll take two more comments.
Two more comments, and then one of you will give a vote of thanks. You know, and okay, you want to give a vote of thanks? Yeah. Okay. Bridges.
All right. Just to on what the point you shared about language learning and all of that. While I was serving in Cross River State, as in Nigeria, as a youth for what he just mentioned, NYSC, I discovered that the populace, because of conflict and all of that, they also had this similar challenge, and much of them don't want to learn sciences. And the bedrock of science is mathematics in a way. So I promoted that by having certain form of competition amidst the schools, all of the schools in that area. In fact, when I did that, the government bought into the idea, and then also I was able to get certain award, the state award as a result. So if we could incorporate such competition even at national level, we had it at county level, and those who do well at county level go to the national level to compete, and they are getting awards and prizes for this. That will promote interest in such education. Thank you.
The last comment.
Your Excellency, I actually want to bring to our notice what you said about the National Youth Corps, which is widely in Nigeria. There was a time the Deputy Minister of Education visited North County, so he was in touch with me. So he told me that the National Youth Corps is in place. I'm working on it to start something like that.
Very much. Thank you. So, Bridges.
And before the vote of thanks, I wanted to give the Pinsville Community School 2 computers.
Particularly the teachers from the gaming, has been crying, they've been complaining. I have this knowledge that I want to share, you know, and then I don't have this computer. So what do you say, Your Excellency?
Thank you, my I think I sent 2 to Boto Barclay also, but I need to send a printer and a generator. Wow. I'll try to work with it, I just forgot. I'll try and get it going on.
So you see the essence of this.
Yes, thank you so much. Welcome. Thank you for what you do.
You get the closing comment.
You see the essence of this interaction. 1 minute. One meeting. It is not just for you to meet with the Vice President and let us know the challenges that you are facing. It is also to lead to having realistic solutions. And you will see, you know, as somebody who is very proactive, I didn't tell her about all these challenges before. She listened to you and she brought out this. Your Excellency, very much thank you from the bottom of our heart. The country coordinator will have been here, as Bridges mentioned. Incidentally, she was one of the pioneers of the first batch of volunteers that were deployed here in 2011.
Oh, wow.
And then she successfully completed, got married here, and
ECOWAS citizens.
Now, you know, she's on maternity. You know, I'm sure she'll get to know about this, and when she comes back, she will also come and express appreciation to Your Excellency. Bridges, you know, make it very brief, and then do it appropriately.
Your Excellency, on behalf of the ECOWAS Volunteer Program, I want to appreciate you for everything you have done. We'll say thank you wholeheartedly. And also to my colleagues, I've heard this story over and over again. I want to say thank you today for putting on your heart. Thank you so much for today. God bless you.
Thank you. Family picture.
Your Excellency,
yeah.
Madam Vice President, Your Excellency, Ambassador, we want to thank you for this full 2.5 hours. You know,
Exciting. We could see another hour.
yes.
That's
With
so
the Vice
important.
President, I could see that everything went well. Thank you for bringing her up to speed. And a lot of the work that the Vice President is doing is in education, as you can see.
Exactly.
Today, the Vice President will afford you a photo shootout, but it will be done in section.
Okay.
Because she is a female and advocating specifically for the females. The females
So
will
we'll
have
do
the
the females
opportunity
first?
of taking a photo exclusively with the Vice President. Following that, the ambassador and the entire team will join the Vice President in the picture. Thank you. Thank
So
you.
you don't want the
and thank
ambassador
you.
So doing the ambassador and the other women first.
Exactly.
You don't care leave him out.
Exactly.
Please,
We also need to thank Moni. Moni has been coordinating very well. In fact, very instrumental, to this interactive section.